Hello, I'm John Marshall Roberts, author of The Voice Code and Igniting Inspiration. I'm an applied behavioral scientist, and what I do is I help people activate the immortal badass within. Now, if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, you're going to definitely want to watch this whole video because today what I'm going to do is share the number one secret to mastering the Matrix.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad.
Now, The Matrix is an epic modern-day movie about the process of awakening to activate what I call your immortal badass, to find our voice, really, right, and become fully powerful within our everyday lives. In the movie, the main character, Neo, has a suspicion that the world he's living in is not totally real. And he finds himself chasing threads, asking questions until he wants to unravel the mystery and figure out what's really going on.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
So he takes the red pill and he wakes up and discovers that his whole life was a dream. He then goes on a series of adventures where by the end of the movie, he's learned how to go into the Matrix and control what happens in that program, right? To literally, there's a scene near the end which represents his mastery over the Matrix, where he's holding his hand up and they're shooting bullets at him, and he makes them stop in midair. No. So, the movie is really a metaphor for the process of awakening that is very real, that people go through at a certain level of consciousness, and that a lot of people in this world are starting to go through as we collectively begin to awaken from the malaise of the 20th century and earlier survival-driven eras of human population, civilization. We're moving fast into an era where people are taking the red pill whether they want to or not, and they're waking up and realizing basically that everything they thought they knew was wrong.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, it is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo.
The problem is, when people take the red pill, the first thing that happens is that you get disillusioned, right? And it's a strong tendency at that phase to start to want to blame society, the people out in the Matrix, for lying to you. And that is a trap that a lot of people get stuck in that keeps them actually trapped in the Matrix. Because the central lesson that we want to get in order to become Neo, who can literally stop bullets and control what happens in space-time, is we've got to get that it's all an illusion.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
So what's the secret? What's the big secret to going from Neo, who just took the red pill, and starting to realize that the world is an illusion, right? That you're in this program and that in many ways it's been using you. How do we go from there to stopping the bullets quickly? So here's the secret. You are not and never were the avatar that you've been playing within this dream. I'll say it again. The number one secret to mastering the Matrix is getting that you are not and never were the avatar, the character that you inhabited as you learned to play this game and get socialized into the Matrix itself, right? So people who start to get disillusioned about the world and get mad, they don't realize that in that moment of being mad, they're identifying with themselves as a victim of the Matrix. But they don't realize that victim is part of the Matrix. Their old ego identity, their old self-concept is a huge part of the problem and is actually the main leverage point. Their main leverage point that they're good for creating change within the Matrix. And what we have to do to go from taking a red pill and waking up without eyebrows and plugs all over us to stopping the bullets in the Matrix is commit fully to mastering our avatar. What we have to do is start to learn when we say I to represent that divine, immortal badass within, the part of us who's running the simulation, the part of us from beyond the matrix of space-time. We have to learn to befriend that part, right? And learn to think of ourselves as it. And what that means then is that we become very vigilant and aware of how the old avatar, our ego constructs, our old emotions, all of that stuff, the human stuff, how that hypnotizes us and sucks us into a negative, death-serving, limiting, powerless point of view. Now, this is the number one secret. So many people are getting that the world's an illusion. Like Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. A lot of people get that, but they are not anywhere near getting what that means and how they need to shift their thinking in order to thrive in that world, right? Because they're getting triggered and the old ecosystem is getting really upset and scared. And instead of feeling and processing that inner data, they're projecting it outward and they're getting all crazy in how they relate to the world and resentful. And that just keeps them trapped further. So the number one secret, right, is to get that you aren't the avatar and to learn to let the higher self guide you in your actions. So in the Matrix, you remember the scene where Neo was on a cell phone in the Matrix, and Morpheus, who was representing his higher self in that scene, is telling him what to do. You know, go out to this ledge, do this, do that, the other, right? He's scared as hell. He's like, I want to fall. And he couldn't follow the directions from the cell phone of his higher self.
They're coming for you, Neo, and I don't know what they're going to do.
Who's coming for me?
Stand up and see for yourself.
What, right now?
Yes, now. Do it slowly. The elevator.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
What the hell do they want from me?
I don't know, but if you don't want to find out, I suggest you get out of there.
How?
I can guide you, but you must do exactly as I say.
This sort of thing happens all the time. As we learn to connect to that immortal badass, it might tell us to do things that our old ego software avatar says is not logical or helpful or is scary, right? So there's a lot that comes up in establishing that inner relationship between ourselves and the immortal badass that we really are, the capital Y-U, capital U, Y-O-U, right? Outside the Matrix, it's quite a process. Right? And so my book, The Voice Code Master Your Inner Game, is really a hardcore user's manual to start to retrain, reframe the game to help serve us in our heart's deeper aspiration, which is really to become so filled with confidence and certainty and clarity about who we are that when bullets fly at us, right, we can stop them and we can save the day and be the hero of our own drama instead of a victim of a world that seems increasingly cruel and filled with evil illusions. If you like this stuff, if you have always sensed, like Neo, that there was a larger reality that you were a part of, and you felt like this world didn't make complete sense to you, like there was more to it and more to you, watch my other videos. You'll see as you look through them that there's red pill information and advice to help you get out of the avatar in every single one of them, which is another reason why a lot of people maybe don't really enjoy the information I'm offering, because a lot of us would rather talk about the red pill and have that make it seem like we're cool and all woke, but you know, at the end of the day, we just want to be cool. which, and fit in and impress others, but we don't really want to do the hard work. If that's you, I say great. There's plenty of resources available to people who want to talk a big game but don't want to actually do the work. But if you're one of those who really is ready to do the work, right? Just know, we got to figure it out now. We've mapped the matrix. The voice code is a map to the matrix. Series of dynamic polarities that govern how things show up in the avatar, in the program, right? And how we can systematically use a 6-step process to get the avatar, the character of who we are, right? To align with that higher self and what I call your voice, right? So if you're real and if you're ready, then stick with me because it gets a lot of fun. Once we frame the game correctly, we start to develop that access to that indomitable power of will, power of certainty, power of clarity that allows us to achieve amazing things in our lives and to become absolutely invincible in the face of any opposition, because the truth is, you're real and fear isn't. Every form of fear in your life, be it financial, relationship, or otherwise, is ultimately an illusion. And your challenge is to become so aligned with that omnipotent, omniscient, divine aspect of self, the immortal badass, that you can stop negative things from occurring in your hologram, right, in your matrix, by the sheer power of your presence, your divine presence. You have that in you. The question is, are you ready to develop it? If so, let's get started.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.